Nitha Ramachandra from the NRR Sports Show. This is episode 797. Joined by a really special guest. His name is Blomberg. He's a former Yankees MLB player, first baseman, and he's the first ever designated hitter in MLB history. He also played for the White Sox, and he played outfield also, and mainly infield and outfield. But like I said, the first designated hitter in MLB history. And it's truly an honor for you to be joining the show today, Ron. And how are you and your family doing today? And how where are you guys located currently?
I'm living in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's a very honor to be able to talk to you because I know that we've been hitting back and forth for a little bit, and I've been a little bit busy, and I know that you've been busy, and all this crazy stuff that's going on. I mean, rather than doing everything, face to face, you have to do it like the modern way. And usually this time of the year, I'm usually up at Yankee Stadium doing a lot of stuff up there. But unfortunately, for the last 15 months, it's been shut down for us. So this is a wonderful way to meet people like yourself, and I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to get right into this. Obviously, with your childhood growing up, and when did you start realizing that you wanted to play sports? And before choosing baseball, did you play any other sports growing up?
I did. I played basketball, and I played football, and of course baseball. And I knew that I wanted to be a professional athlete when I was, I say about 8 years old. That was just like everybody else. If you watch a professional sport, this is what you want to do. But I had some major opportunities to play basketball and to play football in college. But I got drafted number 1 by the Yankees in 1967. And that was a no-brainer. When I got drafted by the Yankees, I signed that contract. And being a Jew from Atlanta and to come up to New York and where all the Jewish people were and the greatest fans in the whole world up in New Jersey, where you're from, and New York, and you being a major Yankee fan, hey, to be able to put on that Yankee pinstripe is that was the highlight of my life. My whole life, Mickey Mantle was actually my favorite player, and he was my hero growing up, and just to be able to meet him and to when I signed when I was 17 years old, and I met him when I was 17 years old, and that was such a big thrill for me, and to, like I said, to put the Yankee pinstripes on and just to walk out on Yankee Stadium with the uniform on. That's you couldn't beat that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Meeting Mickey Mantle, one of the best players out there, and obviously rest in peace. And he's a legendary player. But I want to ask you though, what did you learn in high school and college as a baseball player, and that made you get into the major leagues? What was the main thing that you learned in high school and college?
Well, it's very, very simple. I signed out of high school, so I could not. I could not play athletics in college. Back then, well, nowadays, if you play one sport, you froze to play that in college.
Right.
But you could play another sport in college. Like, if I, signed with the Yankees professionally, I could not play baseball in college. But if I wanted to play football, that was a different story. But back then, you could not do that. But learning from high school, and I knew what I wanted to do, and thank God I was a fairly decent athlete and also a pretty good student, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I had a dream. I think everybody is blessed with some type of dream, and everybody is blessed. The guy up above gave everybody the ability for. He gave me the ability to be a professional athlete, and I took advantage of it. I worked very, very hard at it, and nothing in life comes easy. And, my parents had no money when I was growing up. And so, to be able to play sports was a big chore for them to buy shoes for me, buy outfits for me, and just to be able to play. And I learned from that. And I knew that I wanted to do, I knew I was going to be fairly decent. Well, you really don't. Hey, I was pretty good when I was 8 years old. Everybody was good when they're 8 years old. But when they reach a peak, and I started playing against, when I was 11 years old, I was playing against guys who was like 15, 16, 17 years old. So always kept up with them. And they're pretty decent athletes. And so I knew that I had the ability. I felt it. And I worked very, very hard at it. And then I got drafted number 1 in the country in 1967 by, of course, the New York Yankees. And that's history.
Yeah. So I'm just curious though, did you ever think of playing college baseball and before signing out of high school, or was your plan always to sign out of high school?
Well, I really didn't know. When I was growing up, I got heavily recruited by almost 125 football scholarships, and I almost had 120 something basketball scholarships. So I signed a basketball scholarship to go to UCLA in 1967. That was with John Wooten. Okay. And then I signed a football scholarship to University of Alabama with Bear Bryant. So those are the 2 teams that if I did not play professional or sign professional baseball, I would have played football or basketball. Okay. But once I got drafted by the Yankees, like I said, that was a no-brainer. Right. And then I knew right off the bat that I'm going to have an opportunity to play with the Yankees, because at that time, CBS owned the Yankees. And when you have a big company like that owning a team, they basically use that as a write-off. And of course, when George came in 1973, and he put a lot of money in that team, and I knew that we were going to go far. And when he bought the team, of course, from CBS, and he told us right the first day when he came to we're at Yankee Stadium, no, we were not at Yankee Stadium. I think we're at Shea Stadium in '73, I believe. I'm not, dates are, Right. I'm not good with dates. I know that I played wherever, but I lose dates. That's so '73. I think we're at Shea Stadium. He bought the team from CBS. He brought all his minorities, and that was the time that he terminated Bill Verdon for Billy Martin. And so first day he sat down with everybody, the whole team, and said, this is who I am. I'm going to bring back a winner to the Yankee family, and I'm going to bring back a winner to the New York families. Wow. And this is what it was. And I knew right off the bat, I chose the right avenue, and I knew George was going to put a lot of money into it, and he did, and look where it ended.
Well, that's amazing. And so I want to ask you about your draft experience. Obviously, the draft is way different from when you got drafted. And what was it like with your family, waiting for your name to get called, and using a different kind of phone? But when the Yankees drafted you, what was that feeling like with you and your family?
Well, I was going to show you. Here's my phone now, my flip phone. Yeah. That's my flip phone. This is my flip phone, and this is all I got. But back then, of course, we didn't have any of that stuff. And but I was at my high school reunion, and I knew that I was going to be drafted number 1 by the Yankees, because they contacted me like 3 months before the draft. And basically, the draft is different from what it is now, but it really is not different. They always, the number 1, players going down to the teams, if you get drafted number 1, those are basically the players that these teams wanted. And being number one by the Yankees, and I knew where I wanted to go to. If I got drafted by Kansas City or Texas or Milwaukee, I would have signed basketball or football. I would not have played. New York is the only place where I would have played. And like I said, you know, to be able to, I lived my dream. I was very, very lucky in my life. The guy up above gave me the opportunity. And I got to put on my Yankee uniform. I got to play in front of all the Yankee people, and it's been a wonderful, you know. Unfortunately, you know, when you get drafted, you know, number one, and of course number one in the country, you're basically a 5-tool player. Okay, right. I was a 5-tool player. Okay, but unfortunately, in my career, when I got up to the big leagues, I got injured quite a bit. Okay. And it's nothing that you can do about injuries. I mean, I was a guy that gave 125% every time I was every time I played. And unfortunately, I hit a home run in Milwaukee. My shoulder tore. My tendon completely severed away from my bone, and they had to put it back. And I had that done in California by the famous people that did Tommy John surgery, Dr. Job and Dr. Curlin out in LA. They did my surgery for me. And unfortunately, we did not have the physical, the modern technology, what they do now. And they had to cut muscle to muscle. And when they did that, it took me a little bit over a year to come back. That's number one. Number two, the next year I came back, I worked my butt off. I came back, I hurt my knee and ran into a wall in spring training. And unfortunately, I could not get scoped. Wow. So George Steinbrenner down in Florida, where I hurt my knee down in spring training, flew me up to New York, had a knee operation, and that took a little bit over a year. So I basically was out for a couple of years with injuries, but I stayed this course. I came back, and then I became a free agent and went to Chicago then.
So obviously you had a great career with the Yankees and a great baseball career overall. And also you played with a lot of great players on the Yankees roster, like Mel Stoudemire, Thurman Munson. You got like Gene Michael, and you look down the roster, even Bobby Mercer you played with. So what was it like with playing with the Yankees and those players I just mentioned? And obviously you're the first major league designated hitter in history. What's that like?
Well, you know, being the first DH, I screwed up the game of baseball in '73. 50% of the people love it, 50% of people hate it. But hey, it's been 48 years. I never thought it was going to be in existence more than a year, to be honest with you. I consider it basically a glorified pinch hitter. And that's what we all thought it was. And we thought it was a joke, to be honest with you. But look at it now, it's 48 years later. And next year it's going to be universal. And you're talking about Edgar Martinez got into the Hall of Fame, being the first DH to get into the Hall of Fame. Right. And David Ortiz from the Red Sox, he's going to wind up being the second guy. So, you know, I mean, I feel good because, like I said, 50% of the people love it, 50% of the people hate it. And that was a day that I screwed up the game of baseball, but it changed the whole era of the game of baseball. It really, you know, I mean, that one thing changed the era. Not like what they have done now with the changes where, you know, I mean, you can't slide into second base. You can't slide into third. You can't slide in the home. If you do slide, you got to slide, you know, you can't hit the catcher. You can't hit the shortstop. But that's a beautiful play in sports. When you slide into second base and try to break up a double play, it's beautiful. And, you know, the good part about it is when you do something like that, all your guys on your team will give you a high five and your manager comes up, great job. And then at home, you can't slide in the home. But now also that. But now on extra innings, you put a man on second base. It's like a church league.
Hmm.
And the game has totally changed. If you look at the game now,
Yeah.
it's a strikeout or a home run now. It's no bunting anymore. There's no stealing much anymore. There are no first and thirders anymore, where you get a base hit and they go from first to third. It's none of that. They just wait for the big inning to hit the home run, and that's what it is. The fans love that, but the people are getting very discouraged about it because, it's getting very boring for the fans. When I work out every single morning, I'm at the gym and I run a treadmill and I watch the baseball the night before.
Right.
That's all they show in the home runs. They're not showing a great play. They're showing how far these guys are hitting the ball. And, this is what fans love now. But it's going to change. It's going to go back because, small ball. And what I mean by small ball is first and third, bunting, suicide squeeze,
right,
like that. And that's made sports. And that made, and if you take that away, people are going to get bored, and that's what it's going to do. And baseball, I think, is going to go back to the real game where it should be.
Right. Yeah. So for you, what was it like? Your experience like in New York, playing in front of those fans and playing in the Bronx, and you guys had a great roster. So what was the experience like overall in New York?
Oh God, just picture yourself. To put on the Yankee uniform, and that's probably the biggest brand in sports, the New York Yankees. And I managed in Israel for 3 months. I went over there with Art Shamsky, who was with the Mets, and a guy named Kenny Holzman, who was a great Cub, and Baltimore, and coming to New York with the Yankees, and to be able to play. Gosh, I don't know if you ever been down on the field. Have you ever been to the field in Yankee Stadium before?
Yeah, not the field, but I've been to the old one and the new one. So
have you actually been on the field?
Oh no.
Oh no. You're talking about something that's sacred, and it is sacred. This is number one. Is just hey, Mickey Mantle played out there, and Yogi Berra played out there, and Lou Gehrig, and Joe DiMaggio, and all those guys, Babe Ruth. Just picture yourself, and and they have Muhammad Ali against Sonny Liston, and you had the Pope out there. It's a sacred land out there. And when I was out there, and when I was walking out there, you could hear the ghost, of these names, almost, like talking to you. And it was wonderful. And to be able to put the Yankee uniform on, of course, and to play in front of the greatest fans in the whole world.
So for you, obviously you played with the White Sox too, but obviously you just mentioned about the injury, but how tough was it for you when you got that injury and you said you got surgery, but after the surgery, did you ever think to yourself that you could have stayed with the New York Yankees, or was it time to move on?
Yeah, well, I could have stayed with them. They got very upset when I left. They stuck with me when I was going through my problems. Okay. But I had to make a change. I had to do something. Sometimes you got to make a change. It wasn't a business decision. It was just a change decision. And I did. I went to Chicago, great town, great fans, but nothing like New York. I'm just being upfront with you. Yankee jersey is a little bit different than wearing a White Sox jersey, right. Believe me. And anybody would tell you what team would you love to be with? And I say 95% of the people say, I want to be with the New York Yankees.
So for you, what would you say what was your favorite outside of the Bronx? What other city did you like to play in, and what atmosphere did you like more?
Boston. Yeah, because we hated the Red Sox, and the Red Sox hated us, and we had fights all the time, and that was wonderful. That was rivalry in the game of baseball. We hated them, they hated us. We always wound up having to fight in Fenway, and we always have a fight in Yankee Stadium. But that was wonderful. Nowadays, they shake hands, but when they go out on the field and take pictures with one another, I mean, it's totally different. Every time I look at a Red Sox and see a Red Sox a hat, I wanted to take it off the head of the person and throw it, because we really did hate them, right, and they really hated us. And that was the best rivalry in athletics. Was a Yankee Red Sox series.
I mean, the rivalry's still there, but I think there's a new rivalry brewing with the Yankees and Rays, though. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like to watch it because now the pitchers are coming in close to the batters, and the batters don't like it, to be honest with you, because they're not used to that.
Yeah.
But just picture yourself doing this every single game to get hit. And they come in very close to you. They're not going to just throw it right down and strike and you're going to hit it. They're going to make you work for it. If they're going to throw it way in, throw one over your head, that's part of baseball.
Right.
You got to understand that. And I know a lot of people say, God, but that might hurt somebody. Yeah, professional athletics is going to hurt people.
Yeah, so take me back to your first major league home run and the first home run that you hit as the DH.
Well, my first game, I was at Yankee Stadium. I'm 18 years old. Got called up on the last 30 days because they opened up their roster in September. And when they opened up their roster, they brought me up. I'm 18 years old. Got up to bat. Did not get a home run, of course, my first game, but my second game, I did hit a home run. And that's just getting in the batter's box, is unbelievable feeling. But to be able to get a base hit, right, and get a home run, and there's 50,000 people in the stadium jumping at you because you're supposed to be pretty good, and all the Jews came to see me, and they were in, with my fans, Ron Blomberg fan. So it makes you very, very proud.
So now looking back at your career, and obviously you had an awesome career, and being the first major league DH in history, and overcoming the injury, and obviously playing the sport that you love. How grateful are you to be in this position right now, and working hard throughout your career and even your childhood, and to be able to get to your goal and be where you are today? How grateful are you right now?
Well, I lived a dream. Okay, I lived a fantasy. Mm-hmm. People like yourself are fans, and you love baseball. Mm-hmm. I love baseball. I love athletics, and I did something what I wanted to do. And I can't say that everybody is doing something that they love to do. I did. Mm-hmm. And after my career was over with, came down to Atlanta. And because when I was living up in New York, I did a lot of TV, did a lot of radio. But I came home to take care of my mom and dad, who eventually passed away. Mm-hmm. And I stayed down here. And so, this is my home. But to be honest with you, New York is my home. Because those are my fans. Those are my brothers there.
So obviously, speaking of radio TV, I saw your a couple of interviews with the Michael Kay show. They're the best here in New York. And what's it like working with them? And Michael Kay is one of the best voices out there when it comes to calling games. And I met him in person one day at an event. And what's it like just to be on their show and talk about your story there?
Well, I knew Michael for a long time. And Michael, when he was growing up, I was his favorite player. And so that was good. And I was just, since we have had this problem, Michael Kay has come onto my Zoom. And I had him on as a guest. Oh, wow. And I've been on Michael's show, hundreds of times. And him and Sterling and Susan Wallman and all those people are my friends. But Michael is just a wonderful, wonderful guy. And Michael, of course, came up as a writer, and he wrote for the Daily News, and I think he wrote for a couple of other papers. But look what he's done now. I think he's voted #1 in communicate in radio and TV, and he's done extremely well I love him and his family to death. And he's such a wonderful, wonderful man.
So now transitioning after your career, you have a book out there, obviously, and you have your own show too. And what's it like to be able to stay in the game, but be involved with the game in a different way, having a book and the show? And first, how did the book come about, and where can people find it?
Well, my book is unbelievable. It's about the captain in me, about Thurman Munson. And Thurman was my roommate for going on 5 years. And of course, we did everything together. And when I met Thurman, I was the #1 draft choice in '67. He was the #1 in '69. And we met in '69 down in spring training. And the two things that we loved each other about, we love to play golf, we love to fish, and we love to eat. So, training down in Fort Lauderdale is pretty close to Miami, and that's where all the Jews were. And he's never been to a deli before. Thurman never been to a deli, so I took him to a few delis down in at Miami, and I got him involved with matzo ball soup and pastrami and corned beef, and he loved it. I mean, he could eat out of my hands. He was wonderful. And also, he said, I'm going to take you to a great place. During the season, he took me to a hamburger place. It was a White Castle.
Oh, wow.
And back then in the Midwest, the White Castle was like a crystal. It's a little hamburger, but it tasted good. And we became very, very close. And, and how I really started thinking about writing the book was down at Yankee fantasy camp. And usually the ex-wives of the players that have passed away, like Helen Hunter, Catfish's wife,
Right.
Kay Mercer, who was Bobby Mercer's wife, and of course, Diana, who was Thurman's wife. And they're down there signing autographs for the campers because they love all that stuff. And I went up to Diana and I said, I want to do something. And she looked at me and she said, I know you want to write a book about my husband. And, and the people written books about Thurman was Kay Mercer, I'm sorry, with Marty Appel. Marty Appel, it was a wonderful book, a great book, but nobody has ever got Diana to write a foreword for her husband. And she did for me. And right off the bat, I had my co-author, Dan Epstein, who is unbelievable, who's written for the for the Rolling Stones. He was the editor for the Rolling Stones, and he's a great writer. And we put this book together, and it's been #1 for the last 30 days. And the book has just been out for 30 days. So it's an unbelievable book. It's not a baseball book. It's a human interest book. And it's a guy that took care of me when I was injured. And we did so many things together. We rubbed nose with the mob people, with the Gambinos and the Gottis and all those people. And we did everything from the musicians to Louis Armstrong to Shaw Lights to all these, Jackie Wilson, Four Tops, the Temptations. We became friends with all these people. And what I've done is created an unbelievable book. It's been out for a month. It's been #1 twice. And people got to get the book because it's really hot. We have already sold thousands of books. Wow. And it's doing great. And people could go to Amazon or they could send it to me at my website and I'll personally sign it. It's Ron Blomberg. It's 10. It's not 2 O's. It's Ron Blomberg, Blomberg 12. I'm sorry. No, that's my website. I'm not good at all this technical. It's Ron Blomberg Yankees.com. That's my website, Ron Blomberg Yankees.com. And you can purchase a book and I'll sign it and send it back to you. And it's a wonderful book, and it's a great book for Father's Day, but it's a great book. It's a human interest book, and people will not want to put it down. And that's, if you look at the reviews that's been on my website, nobody wants to ever put it down. And it's a wonderful book.
Yeah, so everyone go check out the book. Like he said, the website is Ron Bloomberg, BloombergYankees.com. Go check out his book, and it's really awesome. And before we get to the last two things, I just want to get your thoughts on the overall Yankees this year and how they're playing. Obviously, they started slow, but now they're starting to pick it up. What are your thoughts on this season so far?
Well, you know, when you first see it, everybody got very discouraged. It's not how you start in baseball, but how you finish. You got 162 games. You're not going to win all your games. You're not going to look good. You're going to have slumps, and you're going to have winning streaks. But if you look at player to player, I think they got overall, I think they're as good as any team in baseball. It might even be better. And I think they're going to go all the way. You know, just, you know, be a Yankee guy. But, you know, I'm with these guys all the time down in spring training, and I'm with them doing the season. Why I do a lot of stuff with the Yankee Stadium, and I go down to the clubhouse and I see these guys. But, you know, they're good. You know, I mean, if the injuries will hold up, I saw with Klubler, Mike go on the DL, and he hurt his right arm, and it's not in the place where he had surgery, I don't think. But, you know, anytime that you see a pitcher have a problem with their shoulder or their arm, that is a major problem. And you just don't know if it's going to come back or if it's going to heal.
So the last two things here before I let you go, our team is part of this foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation, and he's a former NFL coach, and now he's offensive coordinator at Tennessee State with Eddie George, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking and making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe. And it's still horrible out there, and we're really grateful to be part of the foundation. So I'll send you the page.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do, because you know, I mean, unfortunately, it's, you know, I mean, we just have a lot of problems now. And, you know, I think it's going to calm down. Hopefully, people are not used to staying in their homes or doing nothing for like 15, 16 months. And that's a long time. So, I mean, I think it's going to calm down. Hopefully it will calm down. And, you know, I mean, people just got to hug one another. I think we can hug each other now. And I think we can shake hands now. That's all we need. We just need, you know, some love, and not, you know, talking about bad about this and whatever. You know, I mean, it has to go away. You know, I can't go to sleep at night, you know, and watch TV and listen to all the bad stuff happening. And, you know, we just got to come back and enjoy life and do the best we can and not fight all the time.
Yeah, the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
Oh, absolutely. They have done an unbelievable. Both of my kids are doctors. And my son is an anesthesiologist down in Miami. He's a chief down in Miami. So he runs, he's in charge of a few thousand anesthesiologists. And unfortunately, they didn't need a lot of anesthesiologists back, you know, when the thing was really, because there was no elective surgeries. And, you know, and that's, they had to put all the patients with the epidemic in the hospitals. But, and then my daughter is a speech pathologist. And, you know, they're the number one people. Just like a few years ago when the people came back from fighting in Afghanistan and Iran and places like that, you know, you see these people in airports and you say, thanks for your service. And, you know, now you say the same thing, because these people have, you know, took it to do something that we could not have done. We lost a lot of people. You know, it's terrible. It's, I mean, you know, you can't make any, you know, thing, you can't make it look nice. It's just like 9/11. When that happened, you know, it is what it is, and you got to get past it, and you just got to get stronger, and you got to make things better. And for the people that are out there, the first responders, hey, y'all did the best. And I just want to thank you for everything what you've done. And from the bottom of my heart, you know, I know I'm talking to millions and millions of people. Thank you.
Yeah, well said. And tell your kids that I said thank you for their service. That means a lot. And first of all, thank you again, Ron Blomberg, for joining the show. It's truly an honor. This wraps up episode 797 with the first MLB DH in history, Ron Blomberg from the New York Yankees. He also played for the White Sox, but now he has a book out there. Go check out his book on Amazon, and go follow him on all social media formats. And I thank you again for coming on. And this was awesome. And you and your family stay safe.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And please do not hesitate to call me. If you need anything, you know where to reach me. Let's stay in touch. And like I said before, if I can help you with your charity, I'll do anything I possibly can to help you.
All right, thank you so much. And I'll send that charity by email so you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Great.